Well, hello folks, LA Little from TA Today, where we use neoclassical technical analysis to view supply and demand, view it on the charts, keep it simple. So today we're going to address three things, all related to semiconductor space. First, we will look technically at the SOXX ETF that you see here on the screen. We're going to ask ourselves, of these 30 semiconductor stocks, is it a buy or not? Second, we're going to look at the top heavy stocks inside this ETF, where 65% of the index is just in 11 stocks, 40 of it in 4 stocks. And lastly, we're going to identify the strongest stocks inside the SOXX today, those that are buys now. So let's start off with the technicals of the SOXX itself. And looking at the chart here, you can see it's done everything you would want it to do, right? It's at bullish, bullish, and bullish. And you can see that here in the trading cube at one glance. You can see it's not extended in any way. You can see that you've gotten breakouts multiple time frames back here in December, and it's got the extension up off of that. Now what it did do also is it came back and did bullish retest regions. It also did it on the weekly time frame here, right there. And it's done it on the monthly time frame as well. Your breakout here, your test there, and so you've gotten regenerations on each of them. Is there anything wrong with it? Well, at this particular point in time, yes it is. You got supply right here, and you can see I'm doing this video about an hour and a half in on the 5th of February. You can see it's hitting that supply, and it's going to have a little bit of a hard time filling this gap and getting over that supply line. The other thing that's bothersome is you don't have nested ABCD structures out here to propel this thing higher. So is it a buy now? Well, based on supply and demand, as we see it here on the charts at this particular point in time, I would say no. You want it to come back down, probably get deeper, probably come down, I would say, into this little demand zone, or even back into the large demand zone over here on the monthly. That's, to me, the buy area. I wouldn't be stretching and trying to put a buy on right here. So moving to the second question, and that is what are those top heavy stocks doing in this market? Are they going to help propel this higher or not? And if we look at those, starting with AMD, as you can see here, nice push up, same sort of thing you see on the SOXX, has broken here, coming back to test now. We've got it over here on that's on the monthly. On the weekly, it's broken out completely. You can pop up and see it way up above. And you can see over here it's having a little trouble as well as we start the day here on the 5th with a bearish engulfing taking place. Now, what I want you to really notice is right here, 84% on the MTTF. That's the trend. The trend is 84% cumulative MTTF, mean time to failure. This thing needs to reset. How does it reset? It needs to break under a swing point low. And so AMD at this particular point in time is telling you that it's stretched on a weekly time frame, which is back over here, and you can see it needs to come back and break a swing point low. Right now the swing point low is way down here. That's probably not going to be the one that prints. It prints after 6 bars. It's probably going to print here as long as it holds up here 3 more weeks. If not, it's way down here. So this one wants to come back. If we look at the next heaviest weighting, of course it's everybody's favorite, which is Nvidia. And if you look at Nvidia has the same sort of situation that we just described on AMD. 86%. You don't have a number of ABCD structures to push it higher, although the one that's out there is 1800, which is a triple. Looking at it also, you can see some exhaustion coming in today, big pop up. This is kind of Tesla of the 3-4 years ago when they were putting out ridiculous call prices and pushing stock up every day. Nvidia is that momentum trade right now. How does it get back and reset? It comes back and breaks a swing point low. Doesn't have to be this one. Matter of fact, this one's probably going to print elsewhere. 3, 4, 5, 6. That print right now is right around 588. Next one up, AVGO. And if we look at AVGO, this one also same scenario. I'm not going to go through all the details, but you get the same scenario with an 81% MTTF. The last one is Qualcomm, and Qualcomm is the only one of the group that's not extended in any of its time frames. This one would probably be the one that you could focus on. The next question is, which of these stocks are ready to buy right now? And we try to answer that question. Of course, the first thing you've got to admit, AMD, Nvidia, you can't just ignore these. when they do come back, they're buys. So somewhere around 588 is my take on Nvidia. If I go back to AMD, that one is also going to be a retrace. It's probably going to break the swing point low, come back and do a retest regen on that swing point high. That's going to be the buy more than likely. Certainly those are the two strongest stocks out there. They're also the heaviest weighted stocks. They're ones you have to pay attention to. The other stock I would probably focus on, another one of the heavy weighted ones, when it comes back in some, is Qualcomm. I really like the setup on it, in particular over here on the weekly. First of all, this one's not extended as the others are, and so if it gets its retrace, it's going to be a good setup. Now, here's the retest regen. Retest regen simply says once you break out, you want to come back and test again. And when you come back the first time after greater than 6 bars, which is going to be the case right here on this swing point, that's your breakout right there. That's the one that you're going to want to look at and say, hey, that's a good area to make the buy. So right at the bottom of the support zone that you see in green is going to be the buy area. I would be focused on this one, on a retrace into there, at least for a trade, if not an investment. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're interested in simple yet effective technical analysis, stock sectors, markets, then click on the subscribe button and stay in tune. The one that really catches my eye right now is TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. Taiwan Semiconductor blew out earnings, got a nice big pop up, is not extended on any time frame. You got this huge gap up area. If you go over to your weekly, the retest regen is down in this area. So if you think about it from a case of, what's the worst case situation, this says that if you get back into this area, if you stay up here 3 more weeks and you get back into this area, this is almost an automatic buy. Even if you come back now, it's probably going to be a buy as you come back into this area. And you got the big spike up. So 104.50 worst case. You could kind of assume that's a worst case stop out below that type of area. If you wanted to use this support zone, then you stop out below that bar. And so you can figure here what your risk is. If you go down here and you take a look at the projections, you can see the numbers of 145, 198. And so you've got a lot of upside, not a lot of downside. If I had to pick one stock right now in the SOXX sector, it would be TSM. That's it for this one. Have a great one. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.